We're not even 1 month into 2025, and American citizens are already becoming refugees. Now, I don't mean this literally. They're becoming refugees from TikTok on an app called Red Note. Today, I have with me my longtime friend and resident Chinese citizen, Crady Chang.
Hello, everybody. My name is Crady. Born and raised in China. Came here to the stateside when I was 13 for middle school, high school. When high school was Ari and his brother. Became friends ever since, and then went to Pitt Johnstown for my bachelor's degree in engineering. Worked as an engineer in the local manufacturing company for 3 years, and now I'm getting my master's at RMU to become a manager.
And if you are an OG show watcher, you will recognize Crady from a previous episode. I think the very first season of the show, we talked about the riots that were happening in Hong Kong and how a lot of Chinese citizens were like waving Trump flags and things like that, which was an interesting time, interesting topic. But it's good to have you back to talk about another interesting topic, kind of like flipped.
Yeah, it's good to be back to see how things have changed after so many years.
Yeah.
How America now is under fire, and what has gone wrong and what could happen.
Yeah, in a way. And I think it's funny because I think both times what was being fought over was free speech, actually, right? Wasn't that part of what was happening in Hong Kong?
It was very close. Yeah, back then for Hong Kong, they were trying to fight for less CCP influences over the Hong Kong government. They were trying to prevent prisoners from being handed to the Chinese government to be trialed there. So that's what they were fighting for over back then. But now we're fighting for the freedom to use the application on the cell phones. But the U.S. government seems to believe that that's causing you guys security issues. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Well, those obviously aren't the same things. I'm not saying what was happening in Hong Kong is exactly the same thing as us becoming refugees. We say that jokingly. Obviously, I think we still have way more freedom of speech here than they do in China. It's not necessarily why people are switching to this app. I would say basically what's happening here is TikTok is a social media app, if you don't know what it is. And it's owned by a Chinese company. It's incredibly popular. It's like short form videos. And there's a lot of people on it that make a lot of money off it. It's their entire living. They're called creators. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the creators on TikTok are very upset because this is literally their livelihood.
Yep.
So it is understandable. I don't feel particularly attached to it because I don't use TikTok. But I still don't agree with the banning of it because I don't think that it being a national security issue is really the case. Mm-hmm. We give so much of our data so freely to so many other things, to American companies, to Apple. I mean, like things that we don't even have a say in, really. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that TikTok is really the only Chinese company that is getting any of our data. So I don't believe for a second that that is the reason they're trying to ban it. I think the reason they're trying to ban it is just because of the actual freedom of speech that's on it. They have no control over this. Mark Zuckerberg, head of Facebook and Meta, which owns Instagram and everything else, has literally admitted just a couple weeks ago on Joe Rogan that they totally censored stuff and listened to the government telling them to censor COVID stuff and things like that. So the idea that TikTok really is not controlled by them, I think is scary to them. I think there's a lot of young people our age that are incredibly anti-war of any kind. So they're not getting behind, we have to be pro-Israel. We're not getting behind. We have to be pro-Ukraine. We need to send the money. I think the idea that those things are being talked about very freely on there, and those ideas are being really widely accepted, I think is scary to the government. And I think that's I think that's the reason for this ban.
I completely agree with you. Here I have a video to show back when they were trying to trial the CEO of TikTok, ByteDance, to see if he's Chinese when he was clearly stating that he was a Singaporean, but they were just trying to ask the same question in multiple different angles to say or show that he was secretly working with the Chinese government or, delivering information from here to China to, become a national security issue for you guys, but which is not really the case.
Pull up that video and we'll react. We'll watch it
Okay.
live and then we can react.
So, you said today, as you often say, that you live in Singapore. Of what nation are you a citizen?
Singapore.
Are you a citizen of any other nation?
No, Senator.
Have you ever applied for Chinese citizenship?
Senator, I served my nation
I'm
in
asking-
Singapore. No, I did not.
Do you have a Singaporean passport?
Yes, and I served my military for two and a half years in Singapore.
Do you have any other passports from any other nations?
No, Senator.
Your wife is an American citizen, your children are American citizens.
That's correct.
Have you ever applied for American citizenship?
No, not yet.
Okay. Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
Senator, I'm Singaporean. No.
Have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
No, Senator. Again, I'm
Okay.
Singaporean.
Let me ask you some.
Dude, you're Chinese, right? You're a Chinese spy, right? You have Chinese interests at heart, right? And he's like, no,
Yeah.
no. My wife and kids are American. No.
Yeah.
I'm from Singapore. No.
Yeah.
So the dude was like born and raised in Singapore, I assume.
I would
And,
think so,
I mean,
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
not Chinese.
I mean, they're just trying. Honestly, at that point, they were just trying to find any reason they could, any way they can dig up to make sure this happens. Sunday, this is gonna happen. They're gonna ban TikTok. All the people who has been on TikTok are gonna lose a lot of their entertainment method. So to combat that, they like to say, "I don't like what you're doing to us, U.S. government. So we're gonna, out of satire, go to another Chinese-owned company for."
it really is just like a screw you,
Yes.
U.S. government. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to this app because it's amazing and we love it and we understand it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
the same as TikTok. We're going to this app because to stick it to you.
Yeah, this
right?
one's
Really.
actually the main language is Mandarin.
Right, like you can't download this app on the App Store and like join it and like read it in English. It's
Yeah.
only in Chinese.
Yeah, a lot. Well, you can't switch the app itself to English, but all of the content on there are in Mandarin Chinese, used by
Okay.
Chinese people. And what we're seeing is a lot of the U.S. citizens are going on there and posting, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah. I'm a TikTok refugee. Please teach me Mandarin."
Well, I've seen some like really funny ones of like some Chinese people being like, "Hey guys, welcome. If you're new, I'm one of the only people you can understand here because a lot of us speak Chinese and
Yeah.
I'll speak English for you."
Yeah.
But kind of like silly, funny stuff. Like there are only two genders here. You're either a dude or you're a girl, and like that is it. So
Yeah.
none of that silly stuff. Okay?
We can show you a picture. Was that when you sign up for your account there, it's male, female.
Yeah,
and
those
some
are the
people
only
are going
options.
there like, "All right, what the heck is going on? I don't have my options."
I think it sounds like immediately like every TikToker has started doing this. Like even like every group of TikTokers.
Yeah.
I don't know really how many people are switching over to it.
Yeah.
But it sounds like we did start to get some like blue-haired baristas switching over, and that's why it sounds like some people were kind of like, "Hey, listen, this is not the place for that. You
Well-
keep that in America, but welcome. You just respect us," was kind of what it sounds like.
I've seen a few posts where American people, when asked, "Is it okay to be gay in China? Do you have like opinion on being transgender?" One of the funny response I got was, "Yes, from the time of 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. that's okay." And then, I mean, a lot of us don't really care or like think, you can't do that.
Was just not socially prominent the way it is here. It's almost trendy to be. We were talking about this earlier. It's almost trendy to be bisexual nowadays
Yeah.
because you don't actually have to commit to anything.
Yeah.
You can be a girl and you can say, "Oh, I'm bisexual," and you break up with your boyfriend and you decide you're going to date a girl for 2 years. Like
Yeah.
that's like it's like trendy to do that nowadays.
It's not as celebrated by the mainstream, obviously. But I think I do see an upward trend where people are thinking, okay, this is more normal than I would expect it, but it's becoming a thing. It's not, we don't look down upon it, but we don't allow it to adjust the society towards that direction. Like
That's
it's
a good
okay.
way to say
Like
it.
you can make your own decision, you can do whatever you want, it's your life, whatever. But
That's a
we're
good way to
not
say it.
we're not adding another bathroom for you. We're not
Right.
like gonna change the law to have a million gender selections when you sign up for something.
Right.
On the
Pick one
internet.
and deal with it. If you don't identify with it, it's fine.
Yeah,
But
but it's really for like if you know were born with the one genital. It's whatever you were born with. You are kind of that's what we're really asking. We don't care what you identify with. It's your business. We don't
Yeah.
really care about it.
which is totally reasonable. I like
Yeah.
that is a type of progressivism that makes sense. It's not such a cancer on society that everyone must change because I am different. It's just I'm different and that's fine. You accept me for how I am. It doesn't mean you have to cater to me. It doesn't mean you have to also be different because I'm different. I can accept that I'm different and you're normal.
And one of the big thing I think truly about that topic we're talking about is a lot of the people who are going through that transition or are going through, trying to figure out who they are, they're not even sure what they want to be.
Yeah.
So like a lot of them can't give you a short answer of what they want to be or who they think they are. That might change. Like one day you're like this, but like a week later you're something else. So it's kind of hard for the society to make that sort of adjustment based on that,
Sure.
right?
Is mental health in China for young people the way it is for us? Like, would you say it's better or worse?
I mean, for the kids, most of the kids that I know have to like spend a lot of their attention and time in schoolwork. Like they're in school really early and then they spend their whole day at school and then they go home, they do homework.
But is everybody that at our age on antidepressants or
I wouldn't
anxiety
say-
medication the
I
way that
wouldn't
we
say
are?
So. I mean, there are definitely kids that are suffering those kind of conditions, but they are not. I would say they're not as exposed to the idea of depression or like mental health stuff. So
Yeah.
like even some of them might be suffering from it. They are not aware. So like it's
Interesting.
not a thing that they really think about until like they're farther into the society. I do see a lot of the young adults who are like after they graduate from college, they're trying to find a job, they're trying to provide for the family, that are struggling, and that's when I see a lot more depression to come in. But within like I would say before high school, it's not really a big thing. Like once in a while, there's like kids who commit suicide that becomes a big deal, but it's not nearly as common.
Is that more culturally acceptable in China the way that it is? Like, I mean, like in Japan, that's like basically acceptable culturally. Is it ingrained in culture? Is that something, or is it more like it is here where that's like almost, I guess, taboo? There's nothing honorable about it.
I mean, like people understanding that currently, I mean, as we all know, the world is not at the best place we could be in. There's wars, there's all this like tragic story that you hear about. So like it's understandable to society that people are becoming more depressed. So like it's not like it's looked down upon,
Okay,
but for sure it's becoming a thing. And it's really sad.
I see. Interesting. What would you say is happening on Red Note as far as like Chinese people interacting with American people? Do you think that is the first time that Chinese people are like talking to American people in this way?
Definitely.
Is that like something that's happening?
Definitely. I mean, a lot of the Chinese people actually do speak English, not as well as I am obviously, because they don't speak the language
course.
every day. I'm just cool like that. But a lot of them took English classes growing up, and they do have a minimal understanding of English. So like there are conversations being had on Red Note between the Chinese citizens and American citizens,
Yeah.
where they can actually talk to each other face to face as human beings rather than they see about each other on the news or what the government tells you. And I think what people are realizing is people across the ocean are just people too. They are just trying to work a job, have a family, and live their life. Like we're just like you are not out to get every Chinese people out there. They're not out to get you.
Right.
A lot of the tension that we see or hear about is really fabricated by whatever it's out there that's trying to create conflict.
Right. And I think in a way, even though this like sort of rebellion is kind of silly, what's the point? It's almost going to be probably like the most effective, not anti-war as in we would go to war with China anytime soon, but I would say just like anti-war mindset to reinforce the idea that like, hey, these people we don't know are just people, like
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Absolutely.
I think the same thing would happen in Russia because I don't think
absolutely agree.
anybody my age like genuinely thinks everybody from Russia is this horrible, evil, bad, scary person. I don't even think a lot of people our age think that about Putin.
No.
I mean, I think he's definitely a scary dude. I think he's definitely done some really bad things.
Absolutely.
But not in the way that the media wants us to constantly villainize him.
I mean, naturally, the world leaders have to make some. You can't be a world leader without making some sort of bad you have to look out for your own people. Like you can't just like we can't sit here and say all of the American president has never done anything evil or done.
No,
anything bad.
I totally agree.
Like,
I think we've done
there's
some really bad stuff.
Oh yeah,
I think everybody has.
But mostly, everybody's just trying to look out for their own people and look out for themselves.
Yeah.
American people are starting to have this conversation with Chinese people to compare their lives, sort of. And I think a lot of Chinese people are surprised to see that how expensive things are over here in the States. One post I saw was comparing the healthcare and education. One person in China was saying, "Oh, I paid $1,000 for my college education. How much did you pay for yours?" And they were almost like shocked to find out that a lot of people in college are having to work 2 jobs while
Take
going
on
to school.
crazy debts.
Yeah, and take on debts from the government that they spend tens of years to pay off after
Yeah.
they graduate. And the healthcare. In China, it's super cheap to go to the doctor, and the doctors are super available. Like you can go there, make an appointment there, and walk in and see someone within the next hour or so. Where in the U.S., if you are on any sort of insurance, maybe you're lucky enough to see a doctor within a week. Like obviously we have urgent care, but they really don't do anything to you besides preventing you from dying. And
Yeah,
then-
terrible waits.
Yeah.
Takes hours to be seen. Super
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
Even if there's nothing really wrong with you.
Yeah. But those should spark questions on why is it this way?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because that's kind of what Tucker Carlson went to Russia to meet with and do a video with Vladimir Putin to interview him. And that's kind of what he said about Russia is like, you know, there's all these really great things. We talk about how bad this country is, how terrible Putin is, and that just, you know, like Orange Man bad, Russia bad. That's kind of like all we ever say. And like his point was, I went to Russia. It's beautiful. The streets are clean. There's not homeless people everywhere. There's not trash everywhere. There's not poop in the streets. There's not drug addicts. Like all these different things that, you know, make a society a really good society, and that make a government that takes care of its people.
Yeah.
And I think we don't have that reputation anymore. And I think maybe a lot of us aren't aware of it. I think a lot of us are like really used to it. I talk with my British friend about their healthcare system. We talk a lot about politics just because I don't know much about foreign politics and I'm very interested in it always, especially from the perspective of someone who lives there. And like their healthcare system is so much worse than ours because everything is free. The waits are just years.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can go in for an appointment that you need and, you know, would be ideal to be seen within like a week or a month. And you can wait 6 months to 2 years for that appointment. And it's crazy. And it is just totally different system, completely
Yep.
free, completely government funded,
Yeah.
but terribly run.
Yeah. I mean, healthcare system is a sort of infrastructure system, and for that to be well maintenance, it needs to have that sort of population to support it. The more infrastructure is used, the better it becomes.
Yeah.
For you guys don't really have that kind of advantage. That's the good thing of having so many people in China. It's a lot of the infrastructure actually gets used, so they actually have the funding to do the things they need to do to make it more available to people. But I'm sure like there are efforts here to make things better for people, but I don't think there's enough. I mean, you hear about all this funding going to other countries to a war that don't really concern us.
Right. And now we have LA devastated by wildfires, and we've sent billions of dollars to Ukraine, and we don't have it in the budget for LA. And it's like, why did it leave this country if we have American citizens in need of it?
Yeah.
I mean, same thing in North Carolina with hurricane relief. They got like $750 for hurricane relief for losing their homes.
I think for California, it's like 800 something.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other night. It's crazy to think that. But it's interesting because I think comparing things, like I said, I mean, everybody thinks like Russia's so bad, China's so bad. And we don't realize, like people are looking for like completely socialized healthcare here. We're looking for it to be completely government run, to be completely free. Look at that where it is in other countries. Look at that in England, in the UK. It's horrible. Their healthcare system sucks. Why would we look at that knowing that system exists in place somewhere else and say, we want that? It sucks. It's terrible. It's way worse than ours. Then if we look at something like China, nobody would ever look at China. No American is allowed to look at China and say like, hey, they're doing something right here. Like maybe this is a system we should try to emulate, right? Because that's really what it is. Because it's not completely government run and owned, right? Like China healthcare, it's not like completely free if you go.
It's definitely not completely free, but a lot of it, like I would say, like majority of it was funded by the Chinese government.
Okay.
Each citizen in China have this healthcare card that they have an allowance on, and they can take that card to buy whatever medicine they need or see whatever doctor they need, and there's a minimal amount of copay they had to pay.
And medicine's really different in China too, right? Like, is there big pharma in China?
That I don't have too much knowledge in to talk about, but I do know that there are a lot of ancient Chinese medicine that you can get on your own. Like you can go see a Chinese doctor and they can tell you.
It's sort of like over the counter stuff that you can buy.
This herb.
It's not really medicine, right?
It's like almost like tea.
Yeah. Okay.
The medical system is so different in China. We'll have to like make it another episode.
Because I would say like probably you don't have people on medication. This is what I was alluding to earlier, asking about young people, but you don't have people on medication the way that you do here.
Not nearly as much. A lot of if they were on medication, the medication were Western. Like traditional Chinese ways, they don't really have you taking pills.
Right.
It's a lot of food. Like they adjust your diet, they adjust whatever, sort of herbal tea you have, they have you drink. And that's really how you adjust your health over time rather than, a quick solution, taking pop an antibiotic and then have it take care of it.
Yeah. We have a couple funny clips / stories to share from Red Note.
Yeah.
Since we have a translator here for us, we're going to show you a handful of things that maybe other Americans haven't seen and maybe like can't understand, can't interpret. So.
You can slap this image on our face to show what we're saying.
We're going to show this up here.
So I asked on Red Note if we're allowed to be gay. Because I don't know, China, censorship. And I found out you're only allowed to be gay in China from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
I take it all back. China loves trans people. Sure, I got a couple transphobic comments. But when this guy tried to comment, we got a lot of boys here also, these two came clutch. Please don't discriminate. This is discriminatory remarks. You are impolite. Get his ass, yo! This person said, opposing foreign political correctness, LGBTQ+, is domestic political correctness, so domestic social media is not very friendly to non-mainstream groups. There will be many unpleasant comments. Hope you can ignore those. Telling me straight up, I love it. We have lots of trans here, you know? The most famous trans, called Xinjing, is loved here. Chinese don't care about that as long as you are a good person. No matter who you are welcome. Hi, I'm a trans woman living in China. You are gorgeous. I'd really like to make friends with you. By the way, I want to remind you that in Chinese, the term that I used in the video is not really a friendly expression. We call trans people Quazingbija, more formal, or Quar, more cute. What the fuck? I'm literally a fucking queer. That's something that people tend to forget when we have this kind of conversation, is that there are queer people living in China as well. Just like there are queer people all over the world. The US government is hell-bent on us believing that Chinese people are our enemy when they are in fact not. The real enemy is the people in...
Are there transgender people in China?
I think so.
And is it just like, that person's kind of weird, they dress weird,
Yeah.
I don't care?
Yeah.
This is how, like, I feel like all normal Americans feel about it, is stay away from my children. You're not reading Drag Time Story Hour at the library. You're not going in my daughter's bathroom, and you're not playing on my daughter's sports team. I don't care anything else about your transgenderness. If you think you are a woman, dress up like a woman. You're going to look really ugly in that skirt, but go for it.
I mean, there are some conversation that needs to be had, was because think about it. To them, what I've made some like friends that are different in life choices compared to me, and they are starting to like introduce me to the community and to like what they think or what they go through. The one thing that I learned that I thought was interesting was they didn't choose to become gay or choose to become transgender. It's like what they are born with.
See, I think that is the compassionate response to that. And I think everybody wants to have compassion and think that. I think that's the immediately thought to be compassionate response. I don't actually think it is. I think they believe they're born in the wrong body, right? Or you believe you are born attracted to the opposite sex, whatever that may be. That's how you feel. That's how they feel. But you look at them and you know that even if they feel like they're a woman, you know that they're a man, right? So is it loving? Is it compassionate to feed into their obvious mental disturbance, right? I mean, like you're obviously not okay that you believe that. Is it compassionate and loving to tell them, yes, you are a woman when you are in fact a man? I think no. I mean, like you're literally doing, maybe you're not always doing medical procedures to transition, every transgender person, but the majority of them are. The majority of them are encouraged to. And you know, that's what we do. And this gets into the medical system too, is we say, oh, you must be a woman, even though, you know, God made you wrong. You obviously aren't a man as you were made to be. Let's help you become a woman. Let's help you fix that, because we do millions of dollars in medical procedures to these people, and we're experimenting on people. I mean, we're offering transgender reassignment surgeries to prisoners to experiment on them. So doctors can try out these experimental procedures, and like, I don't think that happens in China, does it?
No, we don't encourage it as much as you guys do.
And I don't think we should encourage it. That's where it's like, I think everybody wants to be compassionate. You want to say, oh, I can't imagine how hard it would be to feel this gender dysphoria, which I'm not even sure I fully understand. I don't like using that word because I don't get it.
You have to be that person to truly, or be that kind of person
to truly understand it. Yeah. But the overwhelming majority of these people have had sexual abuse at some point in their life. Majority of them have had sexual abuse as a child. So the idea that they would have confusing thoughts and, you know, I mean, like most transgender women were abused as a child, and they say, I did not feel comfortable as a woman. And I don't even know what to call them. Most women that transgender into being a man were sexually abused as a child, and they didn't feel comfortable as a woman. They thought they would feel safer as a man. And those are the people that are like detransitioning now too, that say that they say, you know, I genuinely thought this would make me feel better. I thought I would be like safer and protected. And I just ended up still feeling the same way because I didn't deal with that trauma that happened to me. But I don't know. I think this is like hugely a cultural thing that we accept it and we say, yeah, you obviously were born in the wrong body. You should have all of these surgeries to change your body and change this about yourself and change this about yourself. Instead of saying, no, like, this is how you're born. God made you perfectly and specially, and he knit you together in your mother's womb. And that is the way he created you. And he knew you before you were even created. Instead of saying that to people, that would be the compassionate response, I think, as a Christian. But we don't do that.
I mean, also one more thing I want to point out is each person will have their own point of view. Like, although I am Chinese and I was born there and raised there, I don't see the whole China. What I say only represent my own opinion.
Of course, but you can still understand what is generally accepted in China. I
what
would say
I think-
transgenderism is very much generally accepted by a lot of leftists here.
Yeah.
Not all of them. And then just generally not accepted by a lot of more conservative
yeah.
people or religious people. But again, not all of them. There's religious people that think they're Christians that believe transgenderism is okay.
Yeah.
We are going to watch a handful of videos / some stories that are coming off of Red Note and Chinese TikTok, right?
Yes.
Okay. Show us
So-
what we've got here.
So I'll show the first picture here. So this person from the U.S. introduced herself on Red Note, had her first post, and then one of the comment, I'm assuming it's a kid from like middle school or high school, said, "Please help me," and then had a picture of one of the homework problem that was in English. It was multiple choices, so like the author just responded with the answers that she thought was right.
Oh my gosh.
And then I'm pretty sure like a couple days later, the kid came back. It's like, "You got me the lowest score out of the entire class."
What was this assignment?
This is like the English like one of the very popular assignment in English kids will have in China
Okay.
was like there will be a paragraph, and then they will take out a few words, like, and then you're
And
supposed-
multiple choice, which words go in?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So,
how did
like-
she fail that?
I don't know. Like, it's super difficult.
It's embarrassing.
Like, if I show you one of those, you might not even pass.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're getting one out after this.
Okay.
We'll post the results on the Instagram.
But yeah, she got it so horribly wrong, and then the kid came back and said, "Yeah, this is the lowest score I've ever gotten."
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And then in reverse, the American kids are posting on their math problem for Chinese kids to solve.
Problems.
Please send help. And then it's really funny how
TikTok refugee here. I heard spelled wrong. People help with homework. My teacher explained number 9, but I don't really understand.
yep. So it's
That's
really
very
fun-
wholesome though.
Yeah, it's really
actually.
funny to see like people actually can get along if they're
Yeah.
given the opportunity.
That's funny.
And then there's also food.
Interesting. I feel like that's on TikTok a lot too.
Yeah. And then
Like random street food.
yeah, people are going on Red Note, seeing all the food that people are posting, and like got super excited. This is one of the extreme example. This guy makes food for pig. Like he raised pigs. So
Okay.
like
He feeds them like special dinner.
like he cooked them dinners and stuff, and
Very
American
nice.
people are like, "Oh, this looks amazing. I want it." Like even it's pig food, I want it.
Oh
It
my
looks
gosh.
good. Yeah. So that's what's going on Red Note. People are getting along. People
Mm-hmm.
are getting to see what each other's lives are like, and it's eye opening to
Yeah,
see.
it's an interesting time, and it's interesting what comes out of something that ideally, hopefully, like this TikTok ban, something good is going to come out of it for the U.S. I think it's going to be it not really getting banned. I don't think it's constitutional, so we'll be interested. At the time that we're filming this, the ban has not yet taken place, and right before we started filming the episode, we did see that Biden said he's going to just leave it up to Trump. But there's still a possibility that TikTok itself just removes itself from the App Store Monday morning. So who knows exactly what's going to happen. But it'd be really interesting to see. And if there's a reason to keep following this, we absolutely will.
Yeah.
But I think we've thought of quite a few good episode topics for the future.
Yeah.
I love just hearing the different perspectives and understanding again what like China is so secret to us as Americans.
Yeah.
It's not something we really learn about. So I think there's some really interesting topics. I really respect your different viewpoint, and I think you're a really smart person, and that's why we have awesome conversations. So yeah, it's super fun to have you on here.
It's good to be here.
Thanks for translating,
I'll try my best.
and we'll have you on again.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.